The committee will come to order. We will now begin our second panel, and I will introduce our witnesses. For our second panel, we have the Honorable Tina Barnes, Vice Speaker of the Guam Legislature from Hagåtña, Guam, Ms. Irene Scambalure, World War II survivor from Talofufu, Guam. Let me remind the witnesses that under committee rules, they must limit their oral statements to 5 minutes, but their entire statement will be included in the hearing record. To begin your testimony, please, I don't think you have a talk button on those microphones, but when you begin, the light will turn green, and when you have 1 minute left, the light will turn yellow, and at the end of 5 minutes, the light will turn red, and I will ask you to please complete your statement. I'll also allow all witnesses on the panel to testify before member questioning. I now, again, thank the witnesses for being here, and I recognize Vice Speaker Barnes for 5 minutes. You're recognized.
Chairman Westerman, committee members, and distinguished Pacific leaders, I'm Tina Muñoz Barnes, Vice Speaker of the 37th Guam Legislature. As the longest-serving member of the legislature and a daughter of Guam, I extend a warm welcome and express gratitude for your visit to understand our challenges firsthand. My testimony today is based on my personal experience from my travels throughout the region. As a former national athlete and now a policymaker for Guam, I've witnessed the rise of China's soft-powered diplomacy in our region. From airports to critical infrastructure to government landmarks and people-to-people exchanges, China has made it a point to make known their presence, open textbooks, and influence right here in our backyard. I am the granddaughter of Colonel Juan Muñoz, whom the Guam Army Guard's headquarters is named after. He organized the Guam Militia, a volunteer force of Chamorros who risked their lives to fight alongside the Americans during World War II. My late husband is a United States Air Force veteran who spent his final days fighting for his life in Arizona, navigating bureaucracy that is the Department of Veterans Affairs. My son is an Air Force veteran, and my grandson-in-law is deployed with the Army. While I may not be able to vote for my loved one's commander-in-chief, I understand duty. This same sense of patriotism and the duty is shared by many on Guam. I'm not a defense expert, but I share with you some ideas on how the United States can bolster our capabilities in this region. First and foremost, we need to come to an understanding that while Guam is a territory of the United States, we are home to about 160,000 Americans, both sons and daughters of Guam, who serve our country, as well as your constituents stationed on Guam, protecting democracy and promoting peace. Despite the nearly $600 billion passed by Congress for infrastructure, our power infrastructure remains damaged from Super Typhoon Mawar, causing daily outages where vital defense points, but lack proper resource allocation. Esteemed members, I understand that some of you serve on the committees that have oversight on justice and immigration. I come before you today cognizant of the issues you face at the southern border. Considering our small Pacific community population decline, we lack skilled laborers, and the growing DoD presence competes for a limited workforce. I urge support for more workers, especially for projects outside the fence, to tackle unaffordable housing and other infrastructure challenges. Many of you remember the problems caused by COVID-19 on our supply chains. During this time, I noticed an uptick in loaded cargo planes from China landing on Guam to refuel. During the pandemic, when traditional supply chains were disrupted, Guam's strategic location posed as a solution to the supply chain issues. I passed legislation creating the Transshipment Task Force to study the success of such an industry on Guam. Today, that study has been funded by US EDA and is currently being conducted. And based on my research and conversations with US Commerce, there needs to be some policy changes to make this happen. Imagine a road where China decides to cut off US from their exports. This would leave us and our allies in the Pacific in limbo. Utilizing the deepest port in the West Pacific right here on Guam would not only strengthen the American supply chain, but create American jobs, boosting the American economy. I hope to be able to count on your support to make this a reality. More importantly, especially with the growing challenges in our region, when DoD assets needs critical supplies to maintain force readiness, making Guam a regional hub for transshipment and trade would make for a better equipped military. But this can't be done piecemeal. This would require a collective approach at examining our infrastructure, strategically investing in our island, the needs of the civilian population in Guam, while reaping the added benefits of equipping the best war fighters in the world. Guam is the hub of the Pacific, and one way to demonstrate this is the jurisdiction of Coast Guard Sector Guam, led by Captain Simmons and his predecessor, Captain Chase. I had the opportunity to learn exactly what they do for Guam and the region. The men and women of the Coast Guard pride themselves on being a force for good, and results speak for themselves. Having a jurisdiction of almost 2 million square miles, Sector Guam ensures that all those who sell our waters are responsible maritime partners. As you may know, most of commerce in the Pacific comes through Guam. With their insights and genuine desire to curb illicit shipments, we passed legislation to implement a digital manifest wherein Coast Guard intelligence can begin conducting their assessment on every container coming into Guam, regardless of their final destination in the Pacific. This has been one of the major deterrents for curbing illegal shipments in our homes. Not only does Sector Guam provide a critical source in protecting our maritime port, a vital hub supporting commercial and defense interests in the Pacific, but the impact that the Coast Guard has on the region is something the entire blue continent takes to heart. Whether it be preventing boats with immigrants of our enemies from entering Guam and other neighbors illegally, or our countless successful critical search and rescue operations, I urge each and one of you here today to consider furthering their capabilities here in Guam. The robust partnerships that the Coast Guard has brought to the region is evident in the regular successes we see right here. I thank you for your time and look forward for your continued partnership. God bless Guam, God bless our troops, and God bless America. Si Julius Masi.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. The chair now recognizes Ms. Skambalia for 5 minutes. Skambalia. Skambaluri.
Yes.
Well, you're recognized for 5 minutes, ma'am.
Good morning and Hafa Day. Members of Congress, leaders from the Pacific, and dignitaries. Thank you for coming to Guam for this important hearing to discuss the concerns our island has regarding the rising tensions with the People's Republic of China. My name is Irene Polk Skambaluri, and I am 92 years old. I am testifying before you. I am testifying before you today as a daughter of a World War II veteran, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and World War II survivor. I love my island, and I believe that this is the most beautiful place in the world. Not only because of the natural beauty, but also because of what it represents. Guam is the center of American values in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I am proud to testify before you today in this field hearing to signify the importance our island has in our nation. Almost 80 years ago, I lived through the worst conflict our island has faced, World War II. I was just 10 years old on December 8, 1941. The feast of Guam's patron saint, Santa Maria Carmelita, the Imperial Japanese military began attacking and invading our island. In the early days of the war, My father, John F. Polk, a U.S. Navy pharmacist mate first class, was captured and was a prisoner of war in Japan. I never had a chance to say goodbye, and I feared I would never see him again. War ripped my family apart and took away every aspect of life I had knew up until that point. During the day, my siblings and I forced to attend Japanese school, where learning the Japanese language was mandatory. In the morning, students would face the sun, bow to the emperor, and then exercise. My brother, sister, and I were physically assaulted in school. They would pull my hair, drag me, and hit me because I am an American. When we were not in classes, we were required to work in the field under the hot and scorching sun. We were deprived of food and water for hours. Shortly after Liberation Day, my father returned from Japan. I was overcome with emotion to see that he had survived and that our family was reunited. He had suffered immensely, and I hardly recognized him. He brought back with him a black book with the names of American prisoners of war who were imprisoned with him. I have this book today, and I'm proud to have this as a lasting memory of my family. The war was the most difficult and painful period of my life. And this is coming from someone with cancer. While I have told my story many times, I still find these memories agonizing. While I was one of the lucky ones to survive, I nearly lost my family, my home, and the life I knew. History cannot repeat itself. In other words, Guam should never be the focal point of a violent and brutal conflict in the Pacific. Nobody should ever have to endure what I went through. I would not wish that pain and despair of any worst enemy. I cannot let that happen to my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the people of this island. Japan attacked us because of our strategic and important location in the Pacific. With control of Guam, Japan could control the Pacific. China sees the importance of Pacific Islands as well. However, we will not let them have control over Guam and the Pacific region. No way. I will forever be thankful to the United States when they liberated our island 79 years ago on July 21st, 1944. I was just 13 years old, and I was proud and happy to see service members land on Ashen Beach. To me, their presence signified more than just the end of the Japanese occupation in Guam. It signifies liberty, democracy, and freedom. These American values have been forged in our culture here in Guam, and we are proud to be where America's day begins. The United States needs to take every possible action to ensure that these values remain a part of our lives no matter what. The federal government has supported Guam for as long as I can remember. You cannot give up on us now. If there is ever a time to support the island, it is now. With your commitment to protecting Guam, I can sleep at night knowing my community, family, and friends are protected by the full faith of our armed forces and government. Don Kuluna Sujus Maasik, thank you very much for having me this morning and allowing me to share with you my story and the trust I have in the United States of America. God bless you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and God bless Guam.
Thank you, ma'am. The chair.
If you have any questions for me, please refer them to Congressman James Moller.
And I will answer anything you want.
He will answer them at a later date in writing, which will be submitted into the record. Thank you ever so much.
Yes.
God bless you all. Coming from a 92-year-old lady.
Thank you, ma'am. And the chair will now recognize members for questions. I want to first start with the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Lamborn. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I found that very touching for both of the witnesses. I appreciate being here. For the sake of time, I will submit my questions for the written record and yield back to the chairman.
Gentleman back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from the Northern Marianas, Mr. Sublime. You're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Saina, she's Luz Masi. Gracias. I'm truly come here and share with us the horrible experience of war that you went through. My 92-year-old mom and I had an argument the other day, and I got to call her and apologize. Jeez. But no, thank you for being here. Vice Speaker, I do have just
Thank you.
a couple of questions for you. Well, one first, happy birthday. I understand your birthday today. And of course, Guam, my district, and across the nation, we have this. We face similar challenges. What can Congress do to best help Guam? In your opinion, I mean, if given an opportunity, what would you ask for?
And thank you, Congressman, and to the panel members here. If I had to answer that right now, I would say a permanent authority to bring the H-2B labor here, a financial partnership with our power, water, and wastewater utilities, and I'd be remiss if I didn't include an expanded and fully staffed veterans clinic, because we here on Guam have, per capita, have the highest enlistment rate, and our veterans are here in the thousands and thousands. And if we could have a fully staffed veterans clinic, that would help us. Congressman.
Thank you, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Vice Speaker.
Gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from American Samoa, Ms. Radawagan.
I want to welcome and thank the panel for appearing today. Both of your statements have been very touching. And I don't have any questions at this time, but I will submit something later for you to answer for the record. And Ms. Scambaluri, you are amazing. And thank you very much for your insights. And of course, Vice Speaker Barnes, si Zeus Maasi to both of you. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
This young lady